Hey kids, today we are working on a 2000 Windstar. Anyway, it's got the 3.8. What we're doing is a water pump because previous owner decided to run water for a long time, and let's just say this thing is very fucksored. Anyway, not the point of the video. I can give you a brief summary of that. Take off the upper intake. It's actually pretty fucking easy. There's two pieces. There's a big piece and then there's a smaller piece, or an inner piece for the runners. But anyway, that's not the point. Easy enough to do there. Disconnect the bottom motor mount down, straight down. Take out the alternator. Take out, there's a bracket that goes vertical. There's a pipe that goes in. Behind the power steering pump, there's another hold down for this pipe. Got to get that out. It's a pain in the ass. Well, I mean, it's actually easy to get, I guess. It's a little 8mm head bolt. I haven't put it back in yet. Anyway, you don't need to touch the AC compressor. There is a vertical bracket here. There's also a metal pipe that gets in there. I found it was better to leave it on the pump, get the whole pump out. Once you lift up the motor to get the pump out. That's the only way you're going to do it. But once the pump is out, then take the pipe out. I just knocked it off with a hammer and then had to clean up all the corrosion because these douchebags been running water. Anyway, point of this video here, which is probably what you looked at the title of it, because I'm presuming that's one way to put the title, is how to put the serpentine belt on. See, way back on the back corner, somewhere right about here in your engine bay, is a tensioner. It's a 13mm head, I believe. However, I just put this belt on without using the tensioner at all. And let me show you what I did. First, had the belt all routed the way I wanted it to be. There is hopefully a single focus end down there. Right here. There's your idler. What I did is I left the belt off of the idler. I then put a lot of tension down here on the bottom, held the belt. Now this is a good belt. This is a nice newer belt, so it worked great for me. If you have a greasy old belt, it probably won't work good. Or if you got a lot of grease on all your pulleys, it probably won't work so great. I grabbed the top of the belt up here, right next to the power steering pump, and I pulled really hard with one hand as I'm pulling the belt, keeping the tension on it on the other side, and was able to slip it up over the tension or the idler pulley. It is not easy to do, but I'm 150 fucking pounds and I was able to do it, so I'm a little skinny fuck. If I can do it, you can fucking do it, I'm sure. Unless you're less than me, and then you might have an excuse why you can't. There's always excuses why people can't do things. I guess that wouldn't be yours today, on this day. So, this is, don't want that grounding out. I might have to jump start this fucker too, because it's been sitting here. This thing's a real ghetto ride car, but hope any of that helps. Water pump is a bit of a hassle getting out of here, just because you do have to lift the motor from below and lift it up, and that's why you take the upper intake to get the clearance right here. You have to take off one of the two bolts and then rotate the idle air control valve around, and your problem is right here. The other option you can do, and I've heard of other people saying this, is you pull the upper cowl off and it gives you a ton of access. That might be a better solution than doing this. This is like 12 or 15 little bolts, 10mm headed bolts. They're pretty simple to take out all the way around the perimeter. And I'm going to wipe down this gasket, make sure nothing fell in here. Shouldn't have. I've had a rag over all the ports for the whole process up till now. A water pump is mostly either 10mm or 15mm nuts. There's about 5 nuts and 4 bolts that hold it in place, one of which is very long. There's also 4 bolts that hold the water pump pulley onto the pump itself. Those, just a matter of leave this serpentine belt on, take a wrench, put it on there, whack the wrench with a hammer, and it'll usually come right off. For me, this situation, somebody had already taken the pulley off. They couldn't get the pump out. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So I'm just kind of batting clean up on somebody else's started job here. So I'm just going to put one bolt back in there because that still has to be done. Put the upper intake on here. top this thing off with coolant and hope. And I'm pretty sure this is the same vehicle that last winter I think it was, I had to bypass the back heater core because they were running pure water in it. This thing's been running pure water for like 2 years. So these fucking people are fucking dumbasses, but not much I can do about that. I'm probably going to charge $150 on this water pump because it's a bit of a hassle. I've seen write-ups on the internet for people talking about it only took them 10 or 12 hours. I've been at this for about, I don't know, 2.5, 3, maybe 3 hours. And the hardest part was getting these pipes out of these bores. The upper one, this is how I did it. I actually just broke. It's supposed to go in, and let me get some shade here so that you can maybe this thing will focus in. It's supposed to have a piece right here. I basically beat this fucker with a chisel, kind of impact shocked it until the aluminum cracked because I figured it was thin aluminum, and I was able to get it off the pipe that way. And the bottom one, it was pretty corroded in there. I just knocked it out once the pump was in my hand like this. Alright, once again, peace out, bitches. And by bitches, I don't mean bitches. I mean bitches are bitches. You're not a bitch unless you're a bitch.